Or to the Hi everyone. I want to welcome you to the new season of Show and Tells, NEBA Show and Tells, the 25-26 season. My cat just knocked something over, or maybe my guest. I have a guest here tonight. I hope it's, oh my goodness, let me start again. I don't know if you all heard that giant crash.
No.
Is it? Yeah. All right. I'm starting a recording. Okay, here we go again. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the 25-26 new season for NEBA's Show and Tell. Tonight we have a featured speaker, Richard Reitz Smith. He's going to be talking to us about his books and his career, and it's quite vast. I hope you're liking this new Monday night slot because we want to see some new faces, and hopefully that's what we will get. And I want to introduce Richard. He's a letterpress and book artist who excels in marrying traditional techniques with technology. He lived in New York City, where he taught at Pratt Institute and School of Visual Arts, and at the same time freelanced as a graphic designer and illustrator. He found and frequented the Center for Book Arts, where we learned a lot about letterpress and the book as an art form. Richard then moved to Maine, where he worked in-house at William Arthur Stationery and Briggs Advertising. He currently runs Double Door Creative, a Camden-based art and design studio focused on creative custom solutions for visual problems. Richard's work has won awards across a wide-ranging platform, including logo and brand development, package design, print collateral, as well as book arts, painting, and drawing. He often incorporates handwork into the Adobe Creative Suite. In 2015, Richard was the first book artist in residence at Maine Media, where he wrote illustrated, printed, and bound, a limited edition ABCDary of alliterative haiku. Richard has a BFA from Carnegie Mellon University in painting and illustration and an MFA in graphic design from the School of Art at Temple University. Wow, Richard, you're a scary guy.
I've been busy.
You've been a
I've
busy,
been busy, Carolyn.
yeah, making some beautiful stuff. So we're here to see that.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. Thank you for reaching out and inviting me. I'm so happy. I'm sort of shocked and embarrassed because I thought it was tomorrow night, and I was just sitting down checking my email, and Carolyn's like, "Hey, you want to jump on and check your the screen attachment?" And I'm like, "Oh, sure, let's do that, and then we'll be ready for tomorrow night." But she was like, "No, it's in 5 minutes." So anyway, I'm gonna deep breath, put that all aside. Yes, things happen. So here's
All the
my
time.
presentation. I'm gonna share my screen. And is that appearing okay for everyone?
It's beautiful.
Okay, great. This is an older piece. It was actually my graduate thesis work, and it's a biographical history of graphic design. And I started way back as a painter and illustrator and worked at between undergrad and graduate school. I worked at Binney and Smith, which is known for the makers of Crayola. And at that time, they also owned and marketed Liquitex products. And so I was a corporate designer. This was just as things were transitioning two computers, so we were still doing a lot of handwork. So I would hand render products, draw three-dimensional renderings of boxes with, all the new designs that we were sort of implementing or proposing. I went to graduate school at Tyler School of Art, which is now part of Temple University. And for my graduate thesis, I did this Einstein's of Design, and it's sort of a packaged piece where each sort of segment of arena of graphic design is meant to reflect the type of arena. So you'll see the packaging. There's a little packaging box, but you can't see it here. But each within that box, there's cubes, and on each of those cubes are information and images of people who have been influential in the field of package design. In the logo design, you can see it down here. I don't know if you can see my cursor.
Yes.
I'm circling this little, it's a little sort of mini Rolodex, if that means anything to anyone anymore. And so this logo identity is a system of people who have been influential in creating logos and identity programs. And so each person is designated a little Rolodex card in my little file there. And then there's the Gutenberg image here. Those are in little book forms. And typography and publishing, those are, publishing is in sort of a magazine form, and typography is also in sort of a poster. There's poster design, and those are sort of just broadsheets size things. So this whole thing sort of fits and nests together into this package design, and you can see this sort of black on black design. It's signatures of all the famous people who have been influential in the field of graphic design. And as I go through this, feel free to jump in and ask me questions. And feel free to also save questions for the end. And Carolyn, if you would just give me a heads up on time.
Hmm.
I think this will run about 30 to 40 minutes, if that's okay.
Lovely.
Okay, good. And so here we're off. Here's the second one. As Carolyn said, I worked in New York City for about 10 years, and I was the corporate designer for Clicquot Inc., which is a company that imports uh, higher end wine. And Veuve Clicquot was their main product, but they also did they imported other wines and champagnes and cordials and higher end sort of things. And so they did a lot of events in New York City with finer restaurants and food pairings with wine and just major chefs. And but then they also had these special events, and pétanque is sort of the French version of bocce ball, and they would have these tournaments where they would invite teams from the major restaurants in New York City to come and compete against each other and drink wine and eat good food. And they would block off a street in Greenwich Village and haul in sand in this blocks street to have these tournaments, and it was quite a fun tournament. So this is a die cut circular invitation with this sort of flower flap envelope that was mailed out, sort of a square envelope, and then a menu that picks up sort of this circular design.
It looks like there's a pearl in the center of that. I'm sure
That's the bocce ball.
that's the bocce ball.
That's the bocce ball, and this is printed with metallic ink. So it might sort of have that pearlized because the bocce balls were sort of silver,
Mm.
big, heavy, almost like bowling ball, if you don't know what pétanque and bocce balls look like. So again, that was earlier in my career. And from there, I moved to Clinique, which is part of the Estee Lauder Corporation, and I was the director of package design for them. One of the major things I did was design the packaging systems for their travel retail. So when you go to the airport and there's all the cosmetics and all these sort of kits of different, they're trying to move products. So they're putting, blending different items into a set. And so I would do a lot of packaging for that. And then we launched a hair care or a skincare product, and there was also a hair care product. And these were photographed by Irving Penn, who is a rather famous photographer. And then I moved to Maine and I sort of continued in my alcohol themed clients. And I worked a lot with Cellar Door Winery at Briggs Advertising, which is in Bath, Maine. And also Cold River Vodka was a client of Briggs Advertising. So it's fun doing a lot of the wine and alcohol, usually big budgets too. This was a competition for a international rebranding of a French pate company, and I was, propose this design system, and the you can see sort of this is the label. The pate cans are very, very small. And so it was a competition, and I didn't win, but I was the top entry in from the United States. So this was this was it. Um, and then spring forward quite a ways. This is something that I worked on recently, and it's not in the public yet. It's hot off the presses. This is a book that I worked on with Larry Smukler, who's a former MFA student at Maine Media, where I used to work. And Larry contacted me early on during his MFA work, and I helped him with some InDesign work and another book that he was working on at that time. But this is his most recent book that's going to be featured in an exhibition in New Hampshire at I'm going to get this wrong. It's the New England, no, it's the New Hampshire Photographic Association, I believe, in Portsmouth. And the opening is October 3rd. But it's going to be up for a while, a few months in late September through October. And so this is a book. This is a book that I designed again with Larry's photographs, created the identity, the logo type here of Beyond, and created this in InDesign, created the files and sent them to a printer. So this is a commercially printed book, and that the printer has bound. So in the sense of a coffee table book, commercial book, as opposed to a handmade artist book. So in my book work, I span a lot of areas as well. But this is commercial work, and really beautiful photographs that Larry has done. And if you get a chance to go see the show in New Hampshire, um, I think they're going to be even more impressive large scale on the wall. And Larry is such a wonderful, generous person. So it would be great if you could meet him if you don't
Where,
know him already.
where in New Hampshire is it?
It's in Portsmouth. I believe it's called the New England Photographic Association,
Okay.
and it's in Portsmouth, New Hampshire. Portsmouth, New Hampshire. Yeah. And I can follow up um, and make sure that I've gotten that information correctly, and maybe that can go in the post. And this is another book, an MFA student from Maine Media, Chris Leventis. This is was his part of his MFA thesis project, and we worked on this book. Um, and you can see the spread below here. That is a double page spread that gatefolds open, and because this is a commercially printed book, they couldn't create that in the book with their printing equipment. So this is a combination of commercially printed book that then I hand tipped in these double page, this double uh, gatefold, and it's throughout the book and is sort of a nice resting point, and you get a very large sense of scale with this. They are roughly 36 wide by 12 high. And this is a new book of my own that I've been working on. And it sort of plays this dance between um, all the elements here. There's printmaking, there's jelly plate prints, there's photography, there's photogravures, and the way that it's laid out here, I sort of envisioned it as a wall exhibition, but it also is sequenced to be spreads of a book. So this could also be either a commercially printed book or a handmade book, printed digitally on and I have an Epson printer. And so that's a project that I have in the works from many, many different sort of collage, dreamlike imagery that I've put together over the years. So it's old imagery and new imagery combined to sort of create this story. And if you would read it, so to speak, to use that term loosely, from the top left to right to the bottom. And as you go through, there's a lot of design elements and repetition of patterns and repeats of circular forms and colors. And so I bring a lot of my graphic design into my bookmaking.
It's a really pretty color palette.
Thank you. Thank you. And that's sort of how I like to work. Something will spark my interest, and I'll sort of spread things out and lay things around and try to find a sequence where things flow image wise, but also color wise, and just thinking about my training with Gestalt design as well, using the power of the viewer's vision and memory when you're making a book. When you lay this out, you sort of start out with this palette of pink and red, and then you go into these muted grays and greens, and then you make your way back to the pink, which sort of becomes a memory of, oh, I saw that pink before. And it's this interplay between you're really using the viewer's memory of what they've already seen and working with that as well in book design. And this is again, a series of images that was inspired by COVID and the town that I grew up in, which is a very small village in Pennsylvania, 50 people. And it was pretty much devastated when COVID came out. It's a very rural area, and it is, sort of a close-knit community in some ways, but COVID, everyone had to keep their distance. And my father died during this period, but not from COVID. But there were people in the town who died from COVID. So this is not necessarily a book, but it's a series of images and photography from my town. And the photographs are digitally overprinted jelly plate prints. And these larger prints are 18 by 24. So they're large scale. And then these are 10 by 15 size. And these are, again, a series of photographs that I've taken of my town and some historical images of my parents' wedding, my ancestors, um, you know, just some images of the place where I grew up.
What is the town?
It's called Sprankle Mills. It's a little village outside of Punxsutawney in western Pennsylvania. Punxsutawney's famous or infamous on your point of view for Groundhog's Day.
Yeah.
Punxsutawney Phil. And that's where I went to high school. And this was part of an exhibition at Cove Street Arts. When I worked at Maine Media, we had a faculty show there, and faculty were invited to present their work. And this was part of um, the piece that I showed, and it was curated by Bruce Brown, and he puts on really amazing shows at Cove Street. If you don't know him, worth a visit in Portland, Maine. This is a relatively newer piece, and again, responding events in my life, and I try to take inspiration from my life and my story. This telling the bees is a sort of an ancient tradition, very much from the Victorian times, but I think it's the research that I found, it stems from Druid times as well. And when there was a death in the family, it was tradition to drape the beehives in black veils in mourning bunting and tell the bees not to leave. The master has died, but please don't leave. Um, and bees were considered even way further back, Egyptians times also, bees were considered a messengers between this world and the afterlife, and bees were the vehicle to go back and forth. And so the tradition was to tell bees, please don't leave, please continue to make your honey and be bountiful here, don't follow the master into the afterlife. And there's a poem. Let's see if I can get this. I have a video link here that shows the whole book. And is that working?
No,
Okay, we'll skip it then.
maybe we can do it later.
Yeah, I'll put it in the chat for later. But it's just a video of me paging through the book.
Nice.
And these, the prints themselves, and it shows the structure, the video shows the structure. It's a concertina accordion, and with the pages attached to either side of the mountain fold. And these prints are combination jelly plates and some dry point etchings and photo transfers as well. So I like to combine a lot of different techniques to get a lot of different texture, different colors. And that said, now I'm contradicting myself because this is very much a monochromatic piece, and it is created from pigmented methyl cellulose that I'm using to paint large pieces of paper and then fold and cut those pieces down to really concentrate the gesture marks of the brushes. I like, from my painting background, I really love using experimental brushes like wallpaper paste brushes, sort of squeegees and, big industrial brooms as brushes, and you just get the most amazing thing. I see Jan here, Jan Owen. She has been a big influence for me on using experimental brushes, and she does the most amazing things with twigs. And you can get the most amazing marks. So this is these drawings, paintings of using methyl cellulose mixed with some um, black acrylic, and they're tipped in to this black structure of the book, and the type, it's a poem that I wrote, and it's responding to COVID again during the COVID lockdown. Uh, and watching the news, I kept hearing, has the tide turned, meaning the number of deaths, the number of infections. And it just sort of, it's a poem that I wrote in response to that, and just feeling totally helpless, as if you're caught up in the current of the sea.
How big is this book?
This book is about 10 wide by 8 high.
It looks like it's sitting on a little stand there.
It's in a slipcase.
I see.
Yeah, so I have the slipcase there as well. Oh, and here's some examples
Hmm.
of the different spreads. And as you progress through the book, the black sections progress as well. They get wider and wider, and then they start to diminish as you go to the end of the book. So the blackness is the turning of the tide, or the diminishment, the increase and then diminishment of the blackness is the turning of the tide.
Is the poem printed in letterpress?
It is. It's a sort of a gold bronze letterpress ink
Nice.
on I believe it's color plan paper. And then one of another great influence, I had the pleasure to meet Jean Wells, who's a polymer photogravure artist, and this process really, again, married my interest in photography and printmaking. And I don't know if you're not familiar with the process, it is, you can get such stunning results using your photography. You make an etched plate. I use the term etched sort of in quotation marks because it is a polymer plate that is exposed to UV light, and then everything that is not um, exposed is washed away. The polymer dissolves. Anything that is exposed to the UV light hardens, and it becomes an etched plate, like in traditional um, uh, sort of intaglio process plate, but you're not using copper, you're using um, a polymer plate. And you can get really exquisite detail in the prints that you make. And you actually ink the plate, rub the ink off, send it through an etching press, just like you would a traditional in traditional printmaking. And here's reduction block. These are sort of 4 seasons and presented as a cascading accordion. And then a poem here that I wrote for a friend who passed and loved her life in Maine. And this is sort of a celebration of her and a celebration of Maine. And the way that I did this is I just included each of the prints every time I went through the reduction. And then these are the final prints down here. And then this is a wood block with split fountain ink. Um, Often I will collaborate with people, and this is a collaboration with a friend of mine who I met at Maine Media. She was a book artist in residence in 2017, and we did this collaborative piece in response to a call for entry at the Bodleian Library. And you would sign up for uh, an extract. If you're not familiar, and if I can explain it properly, is in publishing and in literature, an extract would be a piece of information. In this case, Herman Melville, um, a piece of news that he was inspired by or took information from to write Moby Dick. So extract 64 is the one that we chose, and it's reporting in the Nantucket newspaper, and it's an account of the whaling ship Globe um, having encountered a whale and been damaged. And that was somewhat of the inspiration, along with all the other extracts that he has. And I think there were almost 200 extracts that he used and were published in his book, sort of a bibliography section. And this call for entry was to celebrate I believe it was the 400th anniversary of his birth. And this is a piece of marbled paper and then some letterpress plates that are made from some old engravings and just different treatments to sort of get the sense of the sea and the old shipping and the printing processes, and the water too with the marbled paper. And then to whiplash you even further, this is a piece of ink drawings, just very random, arbitrary, wet on wet ink that I would then work back into. Actually, this piece here is sort of it's a paper towel that was blotted. I used as a blotter. There's different scraps and different collages of cut bits of paper. I love sort of finding interest in the discarded and combining them with this. This is a piece of tin pan that's sort of a press paper that I drew back into. Um, and then these are all bound as a drum leaf. The ink drawings are across the spread, and then they're glued back to each other. This is a piece that I did um, after my residency at Maine Media. I was looking to continue to do additioned work, but not as many and something more adult, because the Abecedarian was more of a children's book, but adult children sort of thing. And I wanted this piece to be very adult, and it's a series of 12 haiku that goes through the life of a leaf. So each sort of each month, because there's 12 images, and it starts here. And do I have 12? I have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. And there's a total of 12. I don't have them all represented here. But they're loose, folio, unbound, but housed in a box, and with this beautiful sort of leaf uh, lace paper as a chemise that wraps them all and keeps them uh, combined. And the images are jelly plates, and usually jelly plates are monoprint process, but I devised a sort of a matrix that I could um, keep the stencils, because the imagery is natural stencils, and I was able to create a very close edition of each of these. So I have an edition of 10 of this, and some of them are a little tricky because there are multiple layers, and it's hard to get um, an edition using a jelly plate. This piece, there's a fish sort of emerging out of the water to investigate a leaf. And I have found at a sort of a thrift store, a plastic molded tray of a fish. So it had the beautiful texture of the scales and the fish eye. And I was able to sort of impress that onto the jelly plate surface to get that image. And this is fairly large scale. These are um, 10 by 15. So and there's a sort of a 2 inch, almost a 2 inch paper mat around each of these. So this is, I think, 13 by 19 clamshell box. And again, walking that line between adult audience and children's audience, this is a retelling of Peter the Rabbit, and it's made of a Xerox copy and collaged with vintage wallpaper and some lino cut blocks and some digital printing, all bound in this plywood cover that's Japanese bound with a hinge. And in the end, the very last page, there's a recipe for fricassee of rabbit. A little morbid, but Edward Gorey is one of my inspirations. So a little morbid humor, a little dark humor um, is kind of nice sometimes. And this is an edition of 5, I believe. And here's the Haiku Alphabet Zoo. And I did this in 3 editions, black and white edition, uh, watercolor edition, and a multicolor deluxe edition where the larger areas are jelly plate prints. And so you're able to get with jelly plate a really interesting texture, like these alligator skins are bubble wrap, texture pressed into the ink. And so these are numbered editions, and they're bound with as a codex binding, not codex, Coptic binding, and they're lettered. So there's 26 in each edition and a few extra artist proofs in each. So roughly there were about 30 books in each edition for a total of 90 books. And these are on the smaller side, I think 5 by 5 or maybe 7 by 7. I'm not sure. This I sometimes do work responding to call for entries, and this was a program. It was called the Sketchbook Project, started by the I'm not sure who it was started by, but it ended up being housed in the Brooklyn Public Library for many, many years. And they took all the entries on the road as sort of a bookmobile. And at one point in Miami, there was a fire in the truck. And so some of the books were destroyed, some of the books were water damaged. Um, and yeah, um,
And yours was destroyed.
it was destroyed by water damage. So this is all watercolor. So they did return it to me, but the color was so faded and washed out, and um yeah, they dried it so it didn't get moldy. But some people lost their books. So
It was a horrible tragedy.
yeah, yeah. And they've discontinued the program now, and gotten rid of the collection. And I'm not sure exactly where it went, but they would provide you with this sketchbook, a blank sketchbook. And what I did is I deconstructed it and then created these just sort of arbitrary ink marks, soaked the paper, you know, rubbed them in dirt, and then went back and found things in the obscurity. So this sort of to me looked like a fish coming up out of the water, investigating this bug that's flying by, and a leaf floating on the water, and just um, different sort of imagery, sort of stream of consciousness, and finding something in the marks and building upon that.
Are
So
are the stamps there
those
rendered
are
by you or real
those yeah,
stamps?
those are collaged in,
Uh-huh.
but there's also some drawn things, and this is collaged in. These are natural stencils of ferns. This is drawn. These are drawn pen and ink. These are drawn, and this is drawn, and then there's a little bit of a bug sort of collaged in over here. Yeah. Uh, I was a TA at Haystack with Rebecca Goodale. If you don't know Rebecca, or if you haven't worked with her, she is a dream to work with and so inspiring, and just sort of jumps in the deep end of the pool and makes sure you swim and do not sink. And this was a project she did at Haystack, and she would give us the choice of picking paper, and then it was go ahead and start cutting through the paper, through the leaves of the paper, and creating this story. But once you cut through a paper on one side, it affects what happens on the other side. So it's really easy to go off the rail. Uh, but this is the story that I came up with. And you sort of start here with the sun and you descend into the Tangerine Sea. And as you descend, you start to see all of this sea life, and the light starts to fade and you see these sea creatures. And I was using these little circular the little things that on three-ring binders that you stick to make sure the paper doesn't tear. I was using those in here, and the black shapes are cut out, paper. The black lines are hand drawn. So there's a combination of drawn and cut shapes throughout this. It's a really great exercise to get over your fear of being too precise, because once you cut into the paper, you're committed, and you then have to make it work somehow.
This
And
isn't small because the little paper saver discs look tiny. Uh,
this is roughly so this would be it's a Canson Mitien's paper, and they're about 18 by 24. So this span is about 24 inches. And so when it folds down, it's 12 by about 4, I think.
hmm.
Yeah. Again, ink drawings. I love just sort of the arbitrariness of what happens um, with ink. And this is working, on wet paper. You pre-soak the paper and then start putting drops of ink on, and what happens with that. And then sort of finding a sequence that works as you go through the book. And this has fold outs and little pockets to open and discover and interact with. Again, back to printmaking. These are some dry point etching prints. These two are copper, and this is a plexiglass plate that then has some color a la poupée printing process. And here is some too, but these are etched with ferric chloride and using a ground. And these are lithography, working on a stone, and sort of drawing and painting with the touche. These are wood engravings, which is a very hard grain, end grain of wood, boxwood in particular. And so these are tiny, tiny, because the wood is, the trees grow very slowly, and it's boxwood and they don't grow very big. And so you have to use particular engraving tools that are very sharp, and it's a very hard surface to carve into, but then it keeps the mark quite well, so you can print many, many times that edition. This is a piece too. I work a lot with As I said, the gel plate, jelly plate, there's so many different names for it. But this is a piece from 2017 where I was just doing a series of leaves and using the natural material as the stencil and layering color and layering textures. And then I ended up with this collection of prints. What do I do with it? So I created sort of this fold out. These are each 10 by 15. So this is 45 wide by 40 long when it unfolds, but then it all folds down to this 10 by 15 book. And then as you unfold it, there's different surfaces. So here there's an introduction, and then this folds out, and there's a poem there by Paul Laurence Dunbar. If you don't know his work, he's from the 19th century and a really wonderful poem, wonderful poet. Um,
You
yeah.
have about 10 minutes.
Okay, I'm gonna speed it up then. Here's another jelly plate book in sort of an accordion style. Uh, Using in jelly plate, you get sort of a positive negative, and that's what these two images of the spread are dealing with. And then it's in a slipcase that slides out and has sort of this thumb reveal here. I do a lot of boxes and I teach box making classes. Um, and I go and highlight a few. This is a wonderful process. This is a box, again, an MFA student at Maine Media wanted to have the book cloth etched. And there's a place in Massachusetts, Freefall Laser by Sarah Pike, and she can book laser book cloth, paper, woods, anything. She's amazing. So look her up if you get a chance.
Say the name again, please.
Freefall Laser, Sarah Pike, Pike, right here.
There it is.
Yeah. And then I do marbled paper, paste paper, and usually when I teach a week-long box making class, we start by making papers, decorating surfaces to use in the boxes that we make throughout the week. And I have them do marbled paper, paste paper, sumi nagashi, and stamp printed paper. Here's some more sculptural pieces that really push the boundary of what a book is. But this is sort of an accordion fold and pages from an old diary that sort of, in my younger days, I had high hopes, and sometimes those things don't happen. But that it's good to have those dreams to sort of push you on and keep you going. And then when they don't work out, you burn them. This is called the crucible, and the idea of writing. And this is inspired by this tube, this glass tube that I found, which is turned upside down, that looks like a giant test tube, but it's actually a vintage sort of water fountain. When they had those cone paper cups, that's one of the vintage holders for that, and I turned it into sort of this test tube crucible. I started out as a painter. This is a series of inspired by the ocean after 9/11. I was in New York City during 9/11, and took refuge in Sag Harbor out on Long Island after that, and was just took a lot of walks on the ocean, near the ocean, and was inspired by that with these paintings. And then I do plein air painting as well. The foxes weren't plein air, but the scene here is my backyard, and there was a day where these two foxes came to visit in the middle of winter and were just scouting out mice or any sort of food, and they were sort of had each other's back, it felt like, and they were, sitting back to back, so they had a 360-degree view. And again, some jelly plates developing a series of personal icons and with these stones and cactus flowers. I lived in Arizona for a while. Sun imagery again here. This is a piece inspired by the four elements. This is fire. I led a trip to south of France, Lanapoule, and this is work from that trip, jelly plate prints. So we were doing large scale jelly plate prints, 18 by 24. And then we would take those prints and either keep them as prints or fold them down into, different book forms. But once you take that large sheet of paper and fold it down, the marks become so concentrated and really energized. And I love when that happens. And here's some more large scale, but I'm sort of looking at these as a gridded wall presentation and sort of exploring the idea of my memory of a pond where I grew up. And this past January, I had a residency at In Cahoots in Petaluma, California, and I was exploring some jelly plate printing there. Among other things, I was there for 2 weeks. And this is a series of called Like Catching Water in a Net, and sort of the futility of certain things. But again, picking up those elements of personal icons, leaves and stones and water, and themes that reoccur for me. And here's a detail of that. And I work in layers with my jelly plate. I print one color, take it away, use stencils, and layer them as after they dry. Here's a book I did recently that was in the Camden Library group show with the Midcoast Book Arts, which I am a member. And we do some group shows. And this was a theme of summer, come summer. And so this is a series of jelly plates and then a poem that I wrote that goes with it. And another one inspired by the theme. And again, this is jelly plate that then I have these large letter forms spelling out the word summer as you go through the book. And that's it.
Wow, thank
Stop
you.
sharing. Thank you.
Beautiful, beautiful thing.
Thank you. So yeah, I'm a very eclectic artist. And whatever inspires me, I run with, and I sort of touch the ranges of sculpture, package design, boxes, printmaking, painting, letterpress printing. I don't try to contain myself to one sort of style or one element or medium.
Oh, I think we're all glad you don't.
Yeah.
But
Wow.
there is something, I mean, you can see your style going through all the different mediums. I mean, it's not as if you're that all over, there's
Yeah.
something there that's consistent. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. And I've worked very hard over the years to sort of find those threads and find those themes
Mhm.
and encourage them to, show up where they want to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was wondering, you had mentioned that you teach, workshops and all. Where
Yes.
do you teach?
Until recently, I was the chair of the book arts program at Maine Media.
Right.
But I'm out on my own now. Last year, I taught at the Center for Book Arts, San Francisco Center for Book Arts, and in October coming up, there's a new gallery at in Camden called Artists and Writers, and I'm going to be teaching a day-long workshop there on jelly plate printing, and it's
Mm.
an ekphrastic uh, experience. So we're taking Dudley Zopp has a show, so we're going into the gallery using her work as inspiration for our prints. So that's
Mm.
coming up, and then uh, I'm gonna be peddling my wares and looking to go around wherever. And I work a lot with private clients as well. I
Mm.
have some people that I'm doing projects with, and some people that are coming and will, will just mentor and spend time with and sort of do whatever work that they want to do, and I'll help them do it. And that's what I did for 6.5 years at Maine Media. I mentored a lot of people and the book artists in residence who came through. Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, they were lucky to have you.
Wow.
Wow.
I thought so. They didn't think so.
All the skills that you have
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
integrate all of that together is really exciting.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. And I appreciate you having me and being such a wonderful, attentive audience.
Thank you for sharing such lovely work and such
Thank you.
varied work.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
It's been a treat.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Good,
Are
good.
there any questions that any of you have? And maybe if the questions come later, we can shoot
Yeah, please,
questions to you.
please provide my email. I just got a notice, Sally sent me I'm gonna be in the small
Small,
wonders,
small impressions.
small impressions.
Yay.
With I'm assuming a bunch of your members,
Yes.
and so I'm looking forward to that. That's exciting. Yeah.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah, it's going to be a fun show.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
looking forward to seeing the pieces as they come in,
Yeah.
so
Good.
yeah.
Good.
Tiny,
Well, I
tiny.
have a jelly plate print that's coming. Surprise, surprise.
Uh-huh. Well, Maya and Gail is also, we're all on the exhibition committee, so
Okay, good. You've seen
we'll
it
see
already.
you all there.
Okay, good. Good. Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
Well,
Thank you so much.
Richard. What a joy to see your work.
Good. And I'll follow up with these with the link to the video of that book and
That'd be terrific.
Larry's exhibition and a few other things.
Yeah,
Okay.
I can put it in the newsletter.
Yeah.
Great. Good,
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you.
Yeah, you can send it to me
Okay.
and
Perfect.
I'll get it out
Great.
to
Thank
see
you.
so everyone will have it.
Good.
Well,
Keep making books.
keep
Yeah.
making art books. Yeah, artist books.
Yeah.
I wanted to let all of you know that, and I think you saw it in the latest newsletter, we have set the dates, Monday night, 7 o'clock. I don't want to go over all these dates, but our next show and tell is on October 20th, and Jan Owen is going to be one of the presenters. And I need another one, but I think all of you have done it, maybe. Maybe Lorraine hasn't.
Oh, I did a long, long time ago. Yeah.
Did? I thought you were a new member.
I am, but I think I don't know. I feel like I did a show and tell like 2 years ago. How
Okay.
are you, Richard? It's nice to see you. I'm
You
sorry
too.
you're not at Maine Media anymore.
Me too.
I know. All right, you got to do your box making and paper making somewhere else.
Exactly. I'm taking it to the road.
All right. Maybe
Are you
see what we
teaching
can do.
a class with Jan Owen and a few other people at Maine Media?
It was canceled.
Oh, it was canceled.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, bummer.
Yeah. So we could revive that, maybe. Jan. Oh, she left.
Yeah, that would be
Ooh,
great.
that would be good.
That would be
Yeah.
really fun.
Yeah. Bookapalooza it was called.
Yeah, it
Oh,
sounded
Palooza,
sounded
nice.
great.
That sounds like fun.
Yeah.
I have to run. It was so
Yeah.
nice
Yeah,
to
it
was
see all
good
of
to
you.
see
all
you,
of
Good
you.
evening.
Good to
Thank
see
you,
everybody.
everyone, for being here, and we'll see you next month. And thanks again, Richard.
No,
Thanks so
thank you.
much.
Appreciate it. Good group.
Bye.
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 Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.